Hey, welcome back. I'm going to talk about day 3 of the Tony Robbins COVID-19 comeback challenge. So that's what I'm talking about today. Their topic today was relationships. So let's get right into it. Now I've got 9 pages of notes from today, so I am not going to talk about all of it. I've been posting my notes. I retype them and I post them on my blog. I have not done that yet, but I'm going to do that as I'm editing, so we'll see what happens. I don't know which one's going to come out first. But there'll be a link for that down in the description. I'll put it here on the screen too. It's just nickborsellino.com/blog. So, relationships, fun stuff, huh? Yeah. So they start off the same way they've been starting off every day. KK, the host, comes out. She does a little thing. And then she introduces Brian, who we do a warm-up with. And if you're a part of it, we do this running man thing that's really crazy and your arms hurt afterwards. And then it goes back to KK and she introduces Tony. And he just talks for a little while about relationship mastering and, again, this fear that we're not good enough and how much that plays into our relationships. And then they show a video that was actually about a half an hour long, which was clips from one of their previous events. And they had a woman come up and they were talking to her about a relationship, and she's like, well, my husband's here too. So they asked her a bunch of questions about what was wrong in the relationship, and they'd been married 27 years and working through this stuff, and they came to this event and they were going to decide when they left whether they were going to stay together or not. And in the matter of a half an hour, or however long it actually was, they said they condensed this clip. But in the matter of this time, they went from thinking they were going to split up to being all in again. And so basically, he had retired. She started her own business at the same time, and he was home wanting her to be there, and she was wanting to do this career thing. And they were just not seeing eye to eye on this, you know? And it caused a lot of stress in their relationship. And so Tony kept asking her to put herself in his shoes and to also stop saying what he was doing wrong, but what was her part in the relationship. What was her part of this that was that she could take some responsibility for. And he mentioned that you can't influence people when you're judging them. You know, like if she wanted him to change, you can't be like telling him what he's doing wrong all the time. That's not going to make somebody change. I know for me, when people tell me what I need to do, I kind of go the opposite direction. He talks about how intimate relationships don't end from lack of love. They end from depolarization. So, you know, people are polarized like a magnet, and then one of them or both of them, and then, you know. And he goes on to talk about how you can't be in your head to be in a relationship. You have to come from your heart. Then he talks about some relationship stressors. Number 1 being the loss of attraction, which is that depolarization again. And then number 2, irritation, frustration, emotional stacking, and stonewalling. These are just those things that build up over time in a relationship, where then, you know, somebody does one little thing and you explode because all these other little things, you know, or big things have been there the whole time, but this one little thing is what tipped you over. And he talks about these 4 R's: resistance, resentment, rejection, and repression. And they are 4 more of those relationship stressors. And again, he brings up the fact of having to own your part to them. Again, I'm still talking about this couple that he was talking with. And he talks about how we are in this relationship through the filter of the lens of every other relationship or person that we've been in contact with through our entire lives. You know, everything in our past shapes us to who we are. And it makes us see people in a different way than somebody else might see the same person, or that they might see us, or, you know what I mean? This lens based on our baggage or whatever from our past. And the survival brain will never make your relationship work. And the survival brain is that fight or flight or freeze thing that does not work in relationships. So we need to reprogram that part of our brain. And so this couple that he's working with at this event, he asks her to step into his shoes. He retires and he has his own expectations. She starts a business and she has her own expectations. He wants to spend time with her. She wants to do her work. So of course there's some disconnect there, right? And then he asks the husband, Mark, what his side of this is, and he doesn't want any time apart from his wife. You know, he's retired. He wants closeness. He wants love. He likes to see her smile. And Tony asks him if he understands why she's upset, and he says he does, but he feels alone, you know? He's just retired and his best friend's not there now. And again, he brings up this thing that I talked about yesterday where you have to kill the monster while it is a baby before it becomes Godzilla. You know, with any of these things, you gotta nip it in the butt quick before it becomes a big thing. And so he gives this good analogy. You know, he's talking about these two qualities you need to make a relationship work: courage and faith. And he talks about the faith of driving on a road and like the yellow line that's dividing us, right? We get in our cars and we drive down the road and we don't even think about the faith that we have in that yellow line to keep those people on the other side of the road, right? There's a lot of faith that goes into the fact that you're driving 55 miles an hour, somebody else is coming at you 55 miles an hour, and all that's separating you is a yellow line on the road. And people, it happens, you know, people are drunk drivers, not paying attention, whatever, sun's in your eyes, a kid in the back seat, anything can distract somebody or, you know, let them weave over that line. But we learn to have faith in the relationship, just like you do when you drive that car. And then he went on with another car analogy. If you try to drive into the future looking into the rearview mirror, you're going to crash, right? Again, he's bringing up this, you know, you got to be talking out of your heart, not out of your head. You got to, you know, be in your heart in a relationship and take responsibility for your part. Again, he brings it up. And then he talks about this thing, ho'oponopono, and he has them repeat this back and forth to each other. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And he has them repeat it back and forth, and this is an exercise that you can do with your partner where you say this back and forth and you look into each other's eyes and you try to feel the other person and what they are, you know, how they're feeling and all that kind of stuff, you know. So you really get into connecting with them and repeating this phrase, and the more you repeat it, the more you come from your heart and not from your head. You have a deeper connection. So then the video ends and they go back into the studio with Tony, and his wife now are in there, and his wife was also in that video too, off and on. So check out that video. You know, go to TonyRobbins.com and sign up for the thing if you're not already, and check out the videos from the 7-day challenge. It's all free to do. While we're in this little break here, if you're getting any value out of this right now, go down there below the screen here and click that subscribe button and ring that little bell, and you get notified of my next videos when I'm posting the challenges coming up, and beyond the challenge, what I'm going to be continuing to do going forwards. This channel is all based on, you know, me kind of like exploring all this new stuff in my life, and Tony Robbins just happened to fall into it right at the perfect time. So now they're back in the studio, they're chit-chatting, and they start talking about this book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, right? And I don't know if you've read this book. I have not read this book, but Tony's been talking about a lot of books. I'm going to put a link for that down in the description as well. If you're interested in it, check that out. And so Tony says, as long as you think they are the problem, that is the problem, right? And there's a quote that I like, a friend told me, is that when I am disturbed, the problem is me. And then he gives an instant solution, right? Instant, boom, here it is. Get out of your head, right? Get out of your head. That's it, instant solution, done. He talks about not going to bed angry or upset, and how we need to fill our relationship bank account, and you need to have 5 positive messages for every 1 negative. You know, and that bank account needs to have more debits than credits. And it is not about having a perfect relationship. It is about mutual understanding. Then he gives us a little exercise to do, all right? Write down everything you want in a relationship. Write down everything you do not want in a relationship. And write down who you have to become for that to happen. Then they talk about 3 things that will mess up a relationship: female and male. The feminine is 3 U's: unseen, not understood, and unsafe. And the masculine is 3 C's: criticized, closed, and controlled. And again, I'm not going to get into everything they talked about here. I'm just talking about some of my takeaways, my main takeaways from this. As I said, I've got all my notes. I'm going to start typing these out right now and put them up on my blog. Again, that's in the description below, and it's nickborsellino.com/blog. And please, if you like this, go down below, subscribe, like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow on the next one, and if not, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.